This is Ranking in Public SEO episode 2 with SPRHRA. And what I was telling you, Marina, is that I'm really impressed with the fact that one, what you've done and what you're building and why you built it. So I'd love for you to talk more about your brand, but the fact that as a founder, as a CEO, you're taking the time to learn these skills for yourself because you're going to be able to scale a content and SEO program and understand what it takes and the how behind and the whys so that you could just build a team to knock this stuff out. So this is not about you doing this forever. That's
Yeah.
impossible. But understanding it to a degree that lots of CEOs won't and founders won't understand it. I think it's a superpower.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes back to my core values. I think of being an athlete, like the way I approach the best coaches that I had said, learn all aspects of the game. Because whether you're a defender, learning what a forward does, you have more empathy for your teammates, but you also learn how to become a better defender because you understand how, the forward reads the game. So I think like that approach. And then just, I believe in like the sweat equity piece too, of like, if I'm going to build this thing, I'm going to understand how, maybe not to an expert level, but I'm going to understand good enough, like how each component of the business works so that I can hire a lot of people that are way better than me at that particular
Absolutely.
function. So I know. And I think that SEO has so much opportunity and it feels like this daunting thing when you don't work in it day to day, but you're here to help me and teach me that it's not. And there's a method to all the madness.
Yeah, there's not like all these guru secrets. It's not secrets. It's just hard work and very good. It gives you the ability to think broadly about the internet and about businesses. Like we have a course, how to start a business, and in that course we show how SEO applies to it. Even when like thinking about doing keyword research to name your company, to buy the right domain name, to build SEO into the domain is really important. Learning like free basic trademark searches, all that type of stuff is extremely important. So quick, tell the people about SPRHRA and your story. And as you do that, I'm gonna I'm setting some things up. Okay.
Absolutely. So I created SPRHRA. The spelling is it's a little fun. So it's SPRHRA. I took out all the vowels except for the most important one, the A at the end. But it is a women's sports apparel company, and our mission is to inspire female athletes to have the freedom to perform while they play. The story is very personal to me. I played college soccer at Georgetown University and had a lot of success in my career, but also had a lot of downsides. I actually almost lost my scholarship my freshman year and had to go to rehab for an eating disorder. So I think my story is about climbing back from that trauma and not leading a life of restriction, but leading sort of a life of abundance and a life of freedom, which is what is baked into the cornerstone of SPRHRA and why we do what we do. So after I graduated, I wrote a book called Becoming a Superhero. I wanted to find the connection with myself, kind of overcome all the trauma that I had experienced as an athlete, but just as a human being in general, as someone was a perfectionist, control freak, as you might say, wanted to be the best at everything. And how do I live a life of freedom rather than, I think, a life of just pure discipline, which I understand discipline helps to an extent, but in a lot of ways it can be very restrictive. So I wrote Becoming a Superhero, interviewed the most amazing women I could find from all spectrums, and talked about the relationships with yourself and the relationships with other women, and how do you lead effectively and not just lead, to hit a bottom line, but how do you lead through elevation and to elevate the lives of others? And through that, it gave me the confidence to pursue SPRHRA, which was this idea that an apparel brand could be so much more than just something that you threw on that had your logo on it. It was something where I could create clothes that actually enhance your performance because they were made with this idea of freedom. So the way our shorts move, how stretchy they are, the way they adjust to women's bodies, that didn't exist when I was an athlete not too long ago.
Now,
So
talk about that too, because I think it's really important. Like when you told me that, like you just get men's clothing, basically. Like I wouldn't
yeah,
even. I just no. I don't think people understand that. You know what I mean?
no, absolutely. And I think that women's sports are baked into the category of men's sports, kind of underneath. But we are our own section, absolutely. And when I was in college, I would compare our shorts specifically because I had to trouble with shorts. I'm 6'1" soccer player. They didn't make clothes for 6'1" athletes, female athletes. Our shorts were the exact same as the men's team. And we would every year at the beginning of season, we would take our athletic trainers' dull ankle tape cutting scissors, the only scissors we had access to, and we would cut out the liner in our shorts, stretch them, rip them, make them adjust to the way our bodies fit, and they fit fine because we adjusted them, but like they were not made for our bodies.
Right.
And there, I have never, outside of the athleisure category, I've never come across women's sports apparel to, go compete in races, in beach volleyball tournaments, soccer, all of that. So that's why I built SPRHRA. I interviewed 150 female athletes, collegiate, pro, and talked to your high school athletes. And I was like, what do you want in shorts? Like, nobody's ever asked us like what we want. So let me ask you what you want. And I bring a whiteboard with me to every single field marketing event. And I have sticky notes and I allow people to put like, tell us what you want in your sports clothing. And everyone will just like throw their ideas on there.
That's amazing. That's incredible. And then from there, you created the shorts.
Yes. So from there, I moved. I bootstrapped. I was living in DC. I said I can afford to build this while paying rent. So I moved home to my parents' house. Had rent. They luckily didn't make me pay rent. And then I found a place to produce in LA. Found some fabric and went to work.
That is awesome. All right. So we're going to help you rank, and I mean the world needs to find your clothing, and women need to wear it because especially athletes. And I guess for non-athletes, is this is it also good for women? Like,
Yep. So we design it for female athletes' bodies, meaning we design it for muscles, we design it for curves, we design it for the way the female body works in an athletic environment. So it absolutely works for women who don't play sports. If they decide they want to play sports too, it works for them. But we design it with most precision and comfort, so any woman can wear it.
so first, let's start here. Let's look at where we're ranking. So Google just did, and you sent over the sheet. I want you to explain the sheet
Mm-hmm.
that you sent over, and I'll show you the changes. So March 15th, I believe, Google rolled out a new algorithm update, and a lot of sites are taking this a little bit of a dip, right?
Okay.
Which is fine. Don't be alarmed. But what I did notice is we are now in position 9 for wavy
Mm-hmm.
shorts, which is on the first page. It's the bottom of the first page, and let's just, even if we're looking at these incognito things, I mean, even if you're looking at a, a keyword rank tracker like SEMrush, which is what we just
Mm-hmm.
showed, what we want to do is just eyeball it. And so you see that there's ads up here, then so sponsored, right? And then as you scroll, this is position 1 is Amazon, 2 Etsy, 3, 4, 5. Someone bought wavyshorts.com, of course. Boom, here we are. Okay.
Okay.
But still, this is not ideal. And what I want you to do is implement the meta title and description that we put together. And then, so your homework is going to be to implement some of this so we could push it more up front, right? So
Okay.
this is done. And even if you want to log in and do it right now, I think that'll be good. So you have wavy stretchy shorts, and then you have this new meta description. We want to implement that because that's going to boost it to the front, and we're going to keep this the same, But what we're doing here is adding some additional value proposition, and this will help it rank for different variations of the word. And then we're going to put your brand at the end, and then this is going to hopefully get them to click, right? You've got a
Mhm.
stacked, you got pretty competitive set when we looked at the rankings. So Amazon, Etsy, all of that. The other thing is this is a fairly easy keyword to rank for. And
Mhm.
so when you're thinking about your strategy, when you're thinking about creating new products or new pages, you want to create you want to target keywords that are easier to rank for, because you're going to be
Okay.
fighting against the world for these keywords, right? Anyone could rank. So I
Yeah.
think some people, um, if you don't have this knowledge or understanding, you're just going to create content, one, that no one's searching for, and 140 a month is pretty good, right? So and I think what I like about this too is, when the more we get you to rank, you're going to fight against the Amazons and all of that. But in these podcasts, people are going to start searching for your actual brand name, which you're going
Yeah.
to rank in the top position for, right? Especially because it's so unique. So we'll be able to drive sales because we're creating demand. Where in
Yeah.
places that people who listen to this, they're runners. They're a lot of CEOs are athletes or have a hobby, triathlons, all those. When they hear this, they'll start searching for your brand name. So we are ranking in public in that way, but also we are being very strategic with targeting things that have low search volume, but again, 140 is not nothing to smile at. And then we could get stretchy
No.
shorts as well, right? We're in position 23 for this, so this is another goal of ours, right? And with the meta title and description, wavy stretchy shorts,
Conversation. Yeah.
non-restrictive. So this is like a synonym of stretchy. It's non-restrictive,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So this is
Mhm.
really tight. But I'm going to tell you this, and just remember this forever, and everyone listening, remember this. Implementation is key, right? And even as an athlete, like, you have a training regimen. If you don't put the work in, like you said, sweat equity. If you don't do the reps, you're not going to rank, basically. So we got to implement this. And then this is what Chat GPT wrote for us. I'm basically going to knock out some adjustments to this, and then I'm
Okay.
going to send this to you. And then what I need you to do, so by the time we next talk, you're going to drop the adjustments.
Mhm.
You're going to see if you could put it at the bottom of the page. I'd actually like to see, can you log into your system and show me
Yeah.
like this back end, so that we could figure out where we're going to put this, because
Yeah.
by
Absolutely.
the time we talk again, that'll push the rankings up. And so when you do that, then we'll move on to the next thing, which is I'm working on a full meta title and description sheet for you, and I'll show you what that is. And I used a tool called Screaming Frog to basically pull all of your pages. I exported that, so this gives us an oversight of your page titles, your descriptions, your H1, your H2, from like a 1,000 feet view. Then I dropped it in the sheet you shared with me, because I think you were attempting to do something like this, but
Yep.
I'm going to show you here. So this is raw pages, is raw everything, and I'm just going to put, because there's information here that we might need. We'll have to look into why this is not indexable, but it is canonicalized, and then there's a 200 steps. So there's some things in here that we would look at later, but we're going to map a keyword for each page, and then write clear meta titles and descriptions for all of your pages, so that you could also implement these, right? So,
Mhm.
but first, let's take a look at
Back end.
your back end. So let me just hit stop real quick and go ahead. Oh, that's fine. Don't worry. We'll celebrate when those numbers go up. So,
Yeah. Right. This is
and you got
all
to
learning
start somewhere,
experience.
and you have to start somewhere. Honestly, like,
100%.
people have dreams and they don't do anything, right? You
Yeah.
have a dream and you're doing, right? So like,
Yep.
so this is Shopify, and
Mhm.
all these things are different. So, is there a place that says SEO? I haven't been in Shopify for a long time. We usually recommend WordPress. Um,
There. Yeah.
so
Here.
okay, right here, search engine. Let's edit that. So copy and paste in the two things.
Oh, I
You
don't
want me
have
to
the
drop the
sheet.
sheet? I got it. I got
Yeah.
it.
Thank you.
I'll drop it in the chat.
Perfect.
Copy and paste it in, and then copy that description in, and then let's update that.
Now, I do have a question as it relates to where you want like the unique, you're kind of touching on it. Oh, come on. You want the uniqueness of a name, right? Like you want, I always think of this Glossier cleanser I have. It's called the Milky Jelly Cleanser. And it just,
Mm-hmm.
from a customer standpoint, it makes me understand exactly the feel and texture of the product. So you want it to
Uh huh.
be, strategic for what the customer is going to see, but then also how you're going to rank on SEO.
Yeah. So not everything's about SEO, because you could with a unique enough name, you could inflate search demand for that, and then no one will be ranking for it because it's like a very unique product. You know what I mean?
Got
So
it.
for example, the TripAdvisor thing, what they did was they ran a TV commercial, and they said, and they taught the behavior of searching for TripAdvisor. They said, don't just search New York hotel, search TripAdvisor New York hotel. They showed the difference, a positive experience if you search for TripAdvisor hotel, a New
Mm-hmm.
York hotel, versus if you didn't, and that increased the amount of people searching for that word, and then they ranked for it because the brand name is in it, and then they ran paid ads, and they got like 25 cents a click versus four
Mm-hmm.
dollars a click and up for
Okay.
on Google Ads for just New York hotel. So it's a similar thing you could do if the name is unique, then that's totally fine. But then you need to do whatever you can to promote it so people search for it, and then you capture the
Right.
demand.
Right.
So don't
Okay.
get that. That's a lot of thing too. Like a lot of SEO people get trapped in the SEO lens, but not everything's SEO. You know what I mean? So but knowing what people are searching for, you could still target those words with articles and all of that and link it back to your product, so you could still get in
Mm.
front of them, even if it's not, even if like the name is not built into your products, right?
Okay. Okay.
I think what from a product standpoint though, knowing the types of things people are searching for so that
Mm-hmm.
you could say, oh, people are searching for wavy shorts. I should
Mm-hmm.
probably create wavy shorts. That type of thing is important, versus not whatever else they could be searching for, right?
Yeah, my
Uh,
style is to name things after like the product function because I was so frustrated with trying to find a pair of shorts that were named after someone's name, and
mhm,
some brands approaches, but I was like, I need to know what it does for me right now, and I'm a very like function oriented person, and I
mhm.
love information, so that's
No,
why
the,
you can see the product names are the way they are.
No, that's amazing though. I love that because it's like UX is built into what you're doing, right? The experience is there, and it's really clear what you're going to get from a product. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, marketing built into your product.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've done this. We're going to save this.
Perfect.
And then so you notice the 70 character limit, and then
Hmm.
320. So that meta description down there.
This is okay. So this is on my actual product page.
Right. So this is what we're going to do. Made high precision, stretcher, the wavy, stretchy short. Cool. So that keyword needs to be in the front sentence. Uh, and you have it there. Do me a favor. We're going to test this. Can you
Okay.
bold wavy stretchy shorts. So this used to work, and I've tested it on one of our sites. One of the reasons we have our publishing sites is so we could test things like that. And in the
Mm,
past, bolding the word was a signal to the search engine. So let's just test it. It's not going to do anything wrong. So we got that. Um, and then that title, I believe, is the H1. So let's save that.
okay, saved.
And do me a favor. Now let's go to your articles. Go open up some articles. And then so after the next thing that we're gonna do is I'll finish that write up, right? And then I'm gonna send that to you, and then you're gonna update the page. And then when you update it, I'm gonna like do a screen recording of that page so we can see the difference. But that's gonna push the rankings up. The next thing we want to do now is we're gonna go look at your articles, and then we're gonna add some internal links to this page for the keyword wavy stretchy shorts. Okay.
Okay, so this is the front end, and our journal is called Behind the Super, but
Uh huh.
I know that last time we talked about having a unique journal name that um, stands out. So um, I'm open to editing the name of this journal, or
Uh,
or we can do a blog.
no, no, I think that's cool. No, 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 you keep that the same. That's cool because
Okay.
it's like behind the super. Well, you tell me why you named it behind the super.
I wanted this section to be behind the scenes of how I'm building it. So a lot of the journals are kind of like more letters that I write to our audience, our community.
Mm-hmm.
But then also I wanted to show them like what is all involved in like what superhero means. So it's both of like the behind the scenes view, but also what is integral to like what superhero is. From a health standpoint, from like a product standpoint, from a community standpoint.
Got it. No, I mean I think that's incredible, and I think there's a lot that you could do with it.
Okay. So back end.
So yeah, so what I'm looking to do, let me share my screen and explain what I
Okay.
want you to do. It'll be easier that way. You're gonna go to each one of these articles and see if wavy, stretchy shorts, if you could weave that into what you've already written, I think
Mm-hmm.
the Our Fabric is the easiest place to do that. And basically, what you want to do is link back. Here you go. Boom. You see this?
Yeah.
You could do this right now. Go back. Go to this. Um, Go to this article, and
Okay.
then link. Do a hyperlink for this word, wavy, stretchy shorts, to that product. And this is what a lot of people miss because you want to send those internal links to your products because and we're working with a large e-commerce site, and they made a fair amount of money, many millions of dollars off of organic search. Not a lot of their stuff is optimized, but one of the main things that is missing is internal links from articles that rank very very well to their products, right? And so we need you to do the same thing. So we're talking like
Okay.
so this is a
Can
common
I show
mistake is
you?
what I'm saying.
Can I
Yeah,
show
yeah,
my screen really quick? Because I think this
yeah,
might be
go ahead.
helpful for people. So link title. Use for
Yes,
accessible
exactly.
SEO. And
So
so
this is what you need to do. So yeah, wavy.
do I use it as the same meta description that we used?
No, 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 no. You just want cancel and go back. Just hit cancel. Yeah. I want to make sure we're doing the same thing. Okay, exactly. So highlight the word. This is so everyone could see. She's highlighting the word. She's hitting the anchor. Yep. Insert link. Cool. Now you're keep making sure that the word. It's weird that they. It's weird that they're asking you for a link title, but just make sure it's wavy stretchy shorts because that's what you're trying to do.
Okay, that's right. And then is it a
And
better,
then open
well, is
it
it a
in a new window.
new window?
Yeah,
Okay.
because
I was
you
like,
don't want people to bounce off your page. You want them to stay on the page and then open in a new window. Yep, and then insert
cool.
that link. And they're right. So a lot of times these content management systems like a Shopify, which give you instructions. And if you saw that one, it says that this is important for SEO and ADA compliance because it's 100% important for ADA compliance. ADA is the Americans with Disabilities
Mhm.
Act, so all websites need to be compliant. And SEO helps with a lot of this. So the H1 tags, the H2, all those things that we were discussing, the way you name your images, but also these internal links, the Braille readers read, they scan the page, they read these links, and that's how they understand what the potential click through to the next page is about, right? So you're
Yeah.
saying this page is actually about that I have linked to is actually about wavy stretchy shorts. And it's the same thing for the crawlers. The crawlers read it; they don't know what you're linking to. So if you're linking to with relevant words, we're sending the signal, and this is something that we could control. We're sending the signal for search engines,
Mhm.
the crawlers, the ADA compliance braille machines, and just humans in general, right? Because it's a user experience thing. That when I click on this link, I'm going to go to this product, and a lot of people are like, okay, they read this, so like, oh well, I would like to buy these shorts.
Right.
Boom, there you go. And I love that you added uh jump wrap spandex because that's
Yeah.
also important, right?
Well, so
So
when I was changing that name,
why?
uh, because when I named it, I wasn't, again, I was thinking more of the functionality, and
Hmm.
they're unbelievable. Well, the feedback that we've gotten about the shorts is that they're unbelievably stretchy and soft, and um, people love that they're like lightweight, but they don't move. So I don't, the functionality, I think the way people have described them has changed a little bit from jump wrap.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
And
change it. Yeah,
yeah.
you could always go back and adjust this. So that's cool. Do me a favor. Click on one of those images. Is there? How would you edit this image?
Oh, there it is.
All right, image alt text. You see that?
Yeah.
What you want to write in there is wavy, stretchy shorts dash uh woman doing a Turkish get up because that's the move. Because you want it to have a keyword but also be descriptive.
Hmm.
Um, and then okay, I think you could save that, and you're gonna have to do
For all of them.
that for all. You have to have all texts on. Yeah, you have to have. I think she was running stairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to have these because this is also second. So Google also has image search, right? And again, they
Hmm.
don't know what your page is. Imagine there's 10 things that they're going to look for. Just keep it basic. Ranking factors. You got, is the keyword in the H1 tag? Check, it's in the H1 tag. Is the keyword in the meta tag? And is it in the front of the H1 tag? Is the keyword in the meta title? Check, it's in the meta title. Is the keyword in the description? This is less of a ranking factor, but it's good to have it there because it's a user experience thing. Boom,
Hmm.
you're there. Is it in the first sentence? Boom, you're good. Is it in the images?
Hmm.
All text? Is it, and then is it on H2s and H3s? Go so let's save this because we did a lot of work here, which is very good. Um oh, so this is the okay, let's leave this alone for now. And I think we could wrap up this session because what next time what we'll do is We're going to look at has this work improved rankings
Mhm.
for wavy stretchy shorts.
Okay.
Cool. And then we're going to get into that sheet, but I want to build it out first, and then I'm going to show you what it is so that we could show everyone, because
Okay.
it's going to take too long to actually build it out, and while I'm sharing my screen. So I'll do that, and I'll show the finished product and explain the process.
Okay.
So for homework, I'm going to finish that wavy, the copy that we need, that we use GPT to write and write an outline mostly. I'm going to fill it in with actual copy. I'm going to answer all those
Yep.
questions. Then we're going to take that. Then I'm going to ping you and say, hey,
Mhm.
this is ready. You're going to take that. You're going to add it to the page, and that's going to
Mhm.
boost the rankings even further.
Okay.
And then we should schedule some time next week to do another session where we look at that. Might not it might take longer for the engines to do
Mhm.
the updates, but then I'll talk to you about that, the keyword
Okay.
mapping sheet for the entire site.
So while you're doing that, I am going to be generating more content. So more blog posts, things like that. I Googled wavy stretchy shorts and did what you said from the last time and saw
Hmm.
all the questions people had about, or sorry, I Googled women's athletic shorts and then saw all the questions people had about that. So I want to write articles on all the questions that people have. That way
Absolutely.
they'll come to my site.
So, well, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's excellent. This is what you let's do some research real quick.
Okay.
Um, so what you can do is top 10, you know, top 7 questions about uh stretchy shorts answered. You know what I mean? Like do
Yeah.
that. Um Here, I'll give you topics to write. So you're gonna write, you know, 7 questions about wavy stretchy shorts. Then you should write like just a simple article about stretchy shorts, and
Mhm.
like why it's important from an athlete standpoint, how it's used, the difference, like the different types of stretchy shorts. And then once you put the what is stretchy shorts article, then you're gonna link it to you'll follow up with the top 7 questions
Mhm.
about it. And then aim for 600 words to start for those articles. And
Easy.
then
I love to write. Sometimes it's just making it shorter.
amazing.
That's the other thing you taught me too, just for this audience, that you don't necessarily need all the words in the world,
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. And
but like more isn't always better.
no,
With
not at
words.
all. Not at all. Not at all. Despite there's some tools that'll say that you need a ton, but a ton more words and blah blah blah. But like quality is what's important. Good
Hmm.
information, and then and based on one of Google's latest ranking factors, what's really important is your article has to be helpful. Your content has to be helpful. So any advice from your personal experience that you probably can't find, even short stories that you can't find on the internet, that's going to be
Hmm.
huge because, again, what Chat GPT does is crawl the internet, find the stuff and rewrites it. That's all. It's not adding
Right.
anything new of value, and that's why Google's so against it, and literally calls articles like that spam, because you're not adding anything new to the internet, right? You're just
Hmm.
creating, regurgitating stuff. And honestly, like Chat GPT, like back in the days, I learned SEO. I did all the black hat stuff, and it's like every
Hmm.
rule you could break for SEO, I did it, right. And that's how I came up. That's how I learned, because at the time Google wouldn't enforce any of these things. So I was like buying links, like doing it all, and I had a bunch of affiliate sites. I didn't need a job because I was making money off the internet. And then
Hmm.
when Google enforced and penalized my sites, I had to get a job. And I was like, God, this is terrible. And but then I was like, oh, pay people would actually pay me to do
Yeah.
SEO for them. You know what I mean? I was like, this is great. So
Yeah.
so that's how I started out. But what that lesson that it taught me is just do the right thing, because it's not worth it to try and cheat if you'd like, because the pain to recover from that is not worth it.
Yeah.
And your experience is priceless, right? Your experience as a high level athlete, and how, and those stories that you could tell, that you could talk. And I would pull from your book. Like, don't recreate the wheel. I would pull from your book
Yeah.
and use that, because that's the difference between having something that's unique and helpful. Like your brand, like, what I love again about your brand is it's unique and helpful. You're solving your own problem, and
Hmm.
a lot of the problems that your fellow female athletes have, and now you're giving that to the world.
Yeah.
And you're definitely a superhero. So
Yeah. Oh,
um,
thank you. No,
it's
this
really
is
it's really
so
good.
helpful. I'll call myself out too. I need to do more. I need to make sure it's ADA compliant. So I'll work on that. That's my homework too.
Yeah, there we could talk about that too. There's some, yeah, so we'll work on all of that.
Okay.
Um but you're starting in the right place,
Yeah.
and yeah, cool.
And I'm
All
loving
right.
my academy learnings. They're so helpful. The growth
You
skills
you're loving
academy
what?
learning. The growth skills like academy learnings. The learning
Oh
center.
yeah, so I forgot that we gave you access to the Learning IQ. We're filling that with more and more courses, and it's
Hmm.
really nice to have like the background information and all
Yeah.
those things, and use it as a resource to like continue going back through there. A lot of the stuff that I'm talking to you now is in there, right? I show
Yeah.
you how to do a full SEO audit, all those types of things. I like doing this because we could drill down on a lot of the double click, if you'd like, on a lot
Yeah.
of the things, and then you could ask me questions, because
Hmm.
it's one thing to just watch it and see the stuff, but another thing to ask
For sure.
questions. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
All
Yeah, it
right.
was so helpful.